Hey everybody, welcome. I am Kim Beegler, the owner of Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill, and I am sitting at home today in Halsey, Oregon, and we're going to be doing a little bit, where is it, of what I'm working on at home with some hand cards and some drop spindle. If you are new, I talk a lot about wool, owning a wool mill, fiber farm, being farmers, all of those things, hand spinning, knitting. If you're returning, you know all that. So welcome back. Welcome. I couldn't be inside the mill this week for the videos because I just finished up Fiber Club and I want it to get to some of the people before it just shipped in the mail the last 2 days. So I want them to get a chance to get it before they see the videos. So we're at home today. I'm getting ready to leave on another trip. I was in California about a week and a half ago. Now I'm heading to Las Vegas. From a fiber festival to Las Vegas. Talk about crazy. Well, just leaving our farm to go to Las Vegas is a little like overwhelming. Just a little overstimulating there, right? So, okay, what am I working on? So this is some Targhee wool with a little bit of linen in it. I got this at Lambtown down in Dixon, California. And it is I got it from Sandy Fisher Woven. She has the most beautiful woven bags. I mean, gorgeous. And she had this, and I'm always looking for things that are kind of new and fun and exciting and different for me because I do see a lot of fiber. And this caught me, and I'll kind of show you what it looks like up close. So it's indigo dyed, naturally dyed Targhee, and then she threw a little bit of linen into the mix too. You can see it's pretty much a mess as far as it's not like organized in any way, shape, or form. So I did do a little bit of organizing last night. Well, basically what I'm doing is sitting down each day and just at night when I come up to the craft room and doing little bits. So here's a little pile that I organized out last night. I have some of it on my hand carders already. So I just do little bits. I'll do enough. I'll do maybe 2 or 3 rollags, then I'll spin them and then move on to another spinning project. So it doesn't seem like this huge daunting thing that I'm working on, and it just keeps it more fun for me. So I think I'm going to turn the camera around and let you see what I'm doing here. All right, so I do have a little cloth for my lap. I don't usually use this when I hand card, but because this is indigo and it is definitely transferring onto my hands pretty easily, I thought these are like my farm pants. It really doesn't matter. Sorry, you all, you're either going to see the hand cards or you're going to see my face. So, and in this case, we're going to do the hand cards. So I loaded up a little bit onto the hand cards. I am not like an expert hand carder because I started hand spinning and then I jumped into owning a wool mill not too long after. So I'm kind of, I started just using my equipment right away. I'm doing a little bit heavier load than maybe some would say. You can watch so many videos on YouTube of people doing this. Everybody has their own way. So just figure out what way works for you and then go from there just to make it work, right? So I've got my card loaded up. I am just gonna start doing some carding. And I just have been doing however many passes. This fiber is not going to be perfect. It's got some definite neps in it. It's textured. I'm just spinning it with that in mind. I'm not trying to be perfect about it, right? I'm just like, okay, this is how it's going to be. I pick some of the neps out as I'm going along, and some of them I don't. So I don't mind a textured yarn. I'd love to hear what you all think. I'll show you up close my yarn here in a minute, and you may be like, oh my gosh, Kim, no. But I think it's fun. It's not, you don't always have to have that perfect yarn, right? Transfer a little bit of that, and then we'll do one more pass here, and I'll show you what I am getting, but it looks better. But you can see there's definitely neps in there. That's okay. I'll pick some of them out as I spin. Some of them I will not. Totally personal preference, right? That's just the nature of spinning. Let's see if I can get that last little bit off. And then I'm just going to take this into a rollag. So you can see there's little neps on there. It's fine. I decided when I started working with this that was fine. So I'm just going to roll it into a little roll lag, and then we'll do a little spinning. I'll let you see what this looks like. You technically should do this on the other side and between your paddles. You do you. That's what I say. You do you. So here's our little roll lag, and you can see there's some neps in it and stuff. Hopefully you can see, but that's okay. So let me show you up close the yarn I'm getting, and then I'll do a little drop spinning. And I am going to do a drop spinning workshop. So there we go. So there's some spots that there are some neps and things like that. I'm just doing this for fun. So I'm not being too crazy about how perfect it is. And I am going to raise you up just a little bit. I filmed this yesterday without any volume, and that was funny. But that's okay. It just means that you get an even better version of it. So, okay, let's do a little spinning here. I like to have I feel like it's a little wonky there. Okay, so I have one on here. I'll show you. When I put my drop spindle down, I just do a couple wraps around the hook just to keep it. This is an Innoxia Crafts drop spindle. The lovely thing about this is that this little band comes down and off, and then this whole piece pops out. So you can replace the bobbins and ply, right, like these fit onto your Lazy Kate. I love it. I love it. It's not going to spin the thinnest yarn. I don't know if she has different weight ones, but it is really fun. So when I'm joining, I'll show you. I have one going here, but I'm going to pull it. It's just like, I'll just start with the new one. I'll just start with the one we just did. I just pull a little bit out. I'll put my hand on it like so. Again, I'm not going for perfection with this yarn. If you were going with perfection, you may do just a smidge more drafting, but it still drafts okay. It's going to take a little bit more work because it's not the most perfect fiber, but I still think it's pretty fun. And if I want, like, I can pull that nep out, and you can always use a little bit of spit splicing when you're working to clean up some of those rough spots if you do pull neps out. Yeah, so I'm just going along, and I tend to spin, or I draft short backward when I'm on my drop spindle. I don't know why. So basically what I'm trying to say there is that I am pulling the fiber backwards instead of using my front hand to pull it forwards. I think because I tend to mainly do long draw, I find that pulling the fiber backwards is easier for me than trying to use that front. My front one's just kind of pinching, and then my back one's doing the drafting. Again, it's whatever gets you to making yarn. So you just do you. Play with it. See what works. You do want to have a nice chunk, a couple inches, so that some twist can build up before where you're drafting. So don't just start with like way down. You don't want to start like right down at the hook. So you can see I pull back a bit. So I have a couple inches. You could even do another inch than that. But it just gives you a little bit of time for some twists to build up. This isn't going to be my most beautiful drop spinning because I'm talking. But I just wanted to show you kind of one of the things I'm working on here at home. And I thought I would also share with you something from Lambtown that was so fun. And I will definitely talk about it more. I know I'll be talking about it over in my Patreon group, which, by the way, we are doing a long draw workshop next week to work on our long draw spinning. So if you are having issues with long draw, maybe think about jumping into my Patreon community. There is a link in the show notes. We also do social meetups. You get discounts, you get first notice on products as they come out. So, okay, let me put this away, and then we'll flip around and I'll just show you. I probably should stand up to make sure it's in focus here. There we go. So, and here's kind of a close up with the roll lag that I know you can see. There's some little neps. Some of that's just different variations in color. Some of it's neps. So, okay, there's that. All right, you all, I wanted to just do this from a different angle just so you could see, for somebody who's like, I couldn't see your hands the way I wanted to. or that angle of your hands, which is always like frustrating when you're on YouTube trying to figure something out, right? So now I'm at a weird angle, but I just wanted you to see what my backhand was doing a little bit better when I say I draft from my backhand. And you can see how loose. Somebody asked recently on something like, should my hands be loose when I am drop spindling? And the answer is basically yes. Like as light as you can get your hands when you're spinning, however, and still have control. That's kind of the goal, because the fibers will just draft a little bit easier that way. I don't know why I did that, honestly. And if you're pinching too hard from the back, you're not going to be able to draft that well, or the front for that matter. So anyway, I just want to do a quick video so you could see, I could insert this in and you could see how, now usually I would be standing up and be able to spin a lot longer, but because I'm sitting on the ground and trying to keep this in frame, but you can see a little bit better what my hands are doing. My front hand is just kind of pinching off and on and not letting the twist go up behind it. And my back hand is doing the drafting. And like I said, you could do it the other way. Let me get this up and I'll show you what I mean. This is going to be some very interesting yarn. Let's do it a little bit so we can get a little more in. So this is not, but you can see how now I'm drafting with my front hand. I don't draft as well with my front hand, and I think that's just from ages of doing long draw. But there's me drafting with my front hand. Okay. Okay, back to the already filmed video. Okay, so I thought I would end with what one of the classes I took at Lambtown, which they have amazing classes. So definitely, if you are looking for a festival to attend, there's a fair amount of vendors, tons of classes, and there is a sheep to shawl, there's a dog herding, I think there's dog herding, there's sheep, I mean, there's just a lot going on. So check it out. I'll put a link in the show notes to Lambtown. One of the classes I took was with Amelia Garapoli on blending boards. She was a fantastic teacher. It was an all-day class, but it was so fast. It was like right up my alley. She was very focused on, like focused and fun, of course, but she had an agenda. I really like classes that are well organized and that we learn a fair amount. So that's just my style. So we had our blending board, right? Honestly, one of the biggest things that she talked about, or she didn't talk about it, I don't even think she really thought much about it, was if you only have one peg, that you can just flip this way or that, so it sits on your leg. Like this could sit between your legs in a different way. Anyway, something to just play with. If you have a blending board that just has one peg and that little stand can rotate back and forth, it was really nice because you could kind of rotate the board on your legs or on the table really easily. So I just wanted to show you 3 of the things that I made. One thing is here. This is the yarn. I can't show you. This was, I think one of the first things we did was just making rollags. I always just thought of a blending board as rollags, which it can be. So here's some rollags that we did to do stripes. I made them really big because it was kind of towards the end, but so this was if you wanted to do a striped yarn, and I still could eat, like, because this would be really big stripes if I just spun from one end all the way to the other, but I could still like pop, you know, and then pop a little chunk of this and pop a little chunk of this, go back and forth. So these were some giant rollags that we made that we probably should have, anyway, whatever. She told us how to do it. I did it different. Something else we did, which I never thought of, was we made roving off of it. So it was literally just like using your blending board as you normally would. It's picking up my fleece. Loading your blending board up as you normally would, and then using a diz or anything with a hole in it, a button, anything like that, and pulling off the roving going across, or pulling off from the blending board using your diz. We actually I didn't have a diz, so I just did it by hand. So it's not the most beautiful roving, but if you had a diz, it would work easier just to pull the fiber through the diz across, and you just keep going back and forth across with the diz. And you make a roving. That's what you make. And I'll show you my roving. This is kind of one of my better ones. But look at, this is a roving. It's all wound up. And it's not as even because I didn't have a diz. Like I said, I was just doing it by hand. But look at this beautiful roving. That would be nice and loose and easy to spin. So that was really fun. And I got quite a bit of that off of just one load up of the blending board. And then the other thing that really never occurred to me either, which is silly, is just taking it off the blending board as a bat. And let me show you, we did kind of some layering. She talked all about layering to keep things like from getting stuck on the board when you're trying to unload the board. But let me show you, this is the bat. Now it's like huge because it's had time to settle, but this is the bat that came off of my blending board. And it's like you just load the blending board up and then take it off as a bat. And then of course you can spin it however you want. I tend to strip them down. So that's basically a roving from there, but it's just like small strips, right? So we learned 3 things: doing bats, doing roving, and doing Rolex. I just had so much fun. And it was lovely for me, especially because at the mill, my carder is so powerful that it will blend the heck out of everything. So it's not as easy to just you can't just put a fiber and expect that it's going to come out just a little bit blended on the other end. It's going to come out blended on the other end. So using a blending board or even a drum carder, hand cards and a blending board are probably the easiest way, even a drum carder though, to get a fiber that's a little bit less blended, right? So anyway, maybe that inspires you to pick up I've had this blending board for a couple of years. My husband got it for me, and I've played with it a little bit, but she kind of went through not only different ways that you can take the fiber off, but then different ways to blend and to like make stripes and to make textures and do things like that. So it was really fun. It was really fun. So that's kind of what I'm working on spinning. I'll show you the one last thing so you can keep track that this is happening. I showed this on the last one where I was kind of catching up. That I am doing this sweater for the Fruity Knitting, their Costa Rica retreat. And so progress is happening. Here we go. Big progress. It actually is going fast. My mom looked at it and was like, what size needles are you using? But here we are. It's kind of hard to show. It wants to, anyway. Yep, that's what's happening. So I am working on the shoulder right now. So this is the back here. Back. And I am working on, this is going to be the shoulder. So this is the back neck up top. We're doing the shoulder for the front right now. Actually, I'm about to put this on waist yarn, and then I'll pick up over here and do the other shoulder for the front. And then we start to get real. And it actually is, once I settled into knitting with just a single, this is just a single of mohair and silk. That's all on the size. I'm using a size 3. The pattern calls for a size 4. The pattern is, I believe it's Luna de Plata by Claudia Quintanilla, and it's beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. This is for the retreat, and we're going to learn to embroider on our knitting as one of the workshops. So anyway, and the yarn I'm using is Lamana Permia, 60% mohair, 40% silk. It's going pretty well. And since I'm flying, I'm trying to get through the shoulder part so that then I can be knitting and purling for a bit. Then you join in the round and then it's a runaway, right? I may do short sleeves on it. I'm not sure yet. But I'm happy with my progress. So I did do some ripping out, of course. But now I think we're on the right track. I'm reading my pattern and we're going to be all right. Okay, you all, that's all I've got for this Wool Wednesday. And I am off to Las Vegas, where I will do some knitting. Probably no spinning. I may take a support spindle. We'll see. But it will be a fun time. So thank you all so much for watching. If you are looking for more fiber people, fiber community, fiber connection, check out my Ewethful Patreon community. And if you just want to stay up to date on some of the stuff that's going on in the Ewethful community, any products that are coming out, get onto my newsletter, which you can do by popping onto my website. So everything's in the show notes. Links are there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Everybody take care.